Right. Okay. Now the second one is dosa recipe. No, because this is the traditional knowledge we have. Okay, we are doing this since like very old days. So that's why you cannot file a patent on this dosa recipes. Now this electric cooker, obviously, right? Great. And last one, the computer code. No. So it will come under which section? Great, thank you. Okay, so moving to the next slide. So I think we have already discussed this one, right? This what is the provisional specification? So see another thing. See the first line it is written. It is optional. Okay, so that means if you have implemented your invention and you are at the final stage, go and file the complete specification. There is no requirement of filing the provisional specification. Okay, so that's why the provisional specification is optional and it is for establishing priority of your application. Because as I have said, when you are filing the patent application, that date will matter. Okay, so that's why this provisional specification is an optional one. Okay, and this establishes priority. And here, as I have already said, no claims are required. Because how you claim? You have not implemented your invention right now. So that's why the claims are not required for the provisional specification. And then for the complete specification, it is mandatory. Like whether you are filing the provisional specification or not, you have to file the complete specification because without that claim subject matter, the patent office will not going to examine your examination, your patent specification. Okay, so that's why it's a mandatory for patent grant must include the claims which will define the scope of your invention, full technical disclosure. Whatever implementation you have made, suppose you have filed the provisional specification. After that, whatever technical implementation you have made, you have to give full details in the technical disclosure in the complete specification. And that is last must be 512 months of the provisional patent specification. And as I have said, there is a provision of getting additional 6 months extension, but it is suggested not to take that extension to lose the priority of your patent application. Okay. So I think can we conclude this session one or else? So any questions? Yes, please.
Sir, the advantage of present disclosure, that is in the section 6 or 7. That is, will that be in the claim section or in the description section?
Description. Claims will only be claims. Okay. Claims is a very there is so much of legal requirement on the claims part. Okay, but in the description you can include. There is another thing you will find few disclosure where the object of the invention is also written. Okay. So what are the objectives you are fulfilling based on the current invention? You can also get that on in some specification, but these are not the mandatory requirement. Okay, as I have said, these advantages are not mandatory. You can include to get so that the examiner or the controller who will read that specification, they can easily understand that. Okay. Yes, please.
After applying a patent and just getting an application number and going for the journal publication, where should we mention this application? When the content of the paper or somewhere in particular section?
No, there is no requirement of mentioning that. See, suppose as he has asked, whether we should go for patent at first or journal at first. So, as per our suggestion, at first file the patent application, and you get the patent application number as well as the date. Then you file the journal paper. So that is not a problem. You don't have to mention that I have filed the patent for that one. So that is two separate things. But if you file the journal prior to patent application, if the patent office find out some publication, there may be problem. So, but after filing the patent application, you file the journal, so you don't have to mention. Yes, please.
Sir, let's suppose I will develop the product and I am going going ahead with a provisional patent, then after that I have to like optimize, and after optimization, let's suppose my product has to undergo some changes. So can I go ahead after like a year and then make the changes and do for the final patent?
Okay, yeah. So it's a very good question. So as we are defining, right, like the final patent scope will be defined by the claims of the patent application. But when you are filing the provisional specification, there is no claims. So when we write or draft the provisional specification, we make it sure the specification should be as broad as possible, such that when you are changing that things also, that will come under the scope you have defined in the provisional specification. Okay, so like if the totally like totally your whenever you are implementing that thing, if that is totally changed, then there is a problem. But if you define some scope, and that, because that's why like when we file the provisional specification, we write like some what is the idea. Okay, what is going to be, how it is, and what would be the ultimate output, we generally do not write. Okay, so that's why we write in a way so that the scope are in a broad way, because in anyhow, when we draft the concrete specification, we have to define the particular scope. Okay, for that reason, when we will file the provisional specification, make it sure the scope of the specification will be broad, so that little bit change or like more changes will not affect your final concrete specification.
In that case, I don't need to put in much details there.
Right, perfect. So that then actually you can consider that provisional specification to file the concrete specification with respect to that same patent application. So that's why do not include very minute details in the provisional patent specification. Okay.
So yes. Sir, at what stage we can file provisional patent?
Suppose like as I just said, suppose you have some idea. Okay. So see, it's not like that. Patent office will always see the model. Sometimes patent office asks for model, but they generally do not. Like as per our experience, 90% of times they do not ask for model. Okay. So suppose you find a very unique problem solution statement, so and you have not implemented it. Okay. So you think that this will work. So you can file the provisional patent specification, not a problem. So there are few inventions, like I will not obviously disclose. They have not yet like implemented. Okay, but the problem solution statement is so unique that they have filed the patent, and they got the patent also. It's not like that they want to, but there are some reasons, like we have filed like few applications where the patent office specifically is asking for the model. Okay, so suppose we have filed on ECG device. So they are asking for the model, like how it is working, how. So we have provided, and then they have granted that one. Okay, so to answer your questions, you have the idea, you make some proof of concept, and you understand this idea solution problem has a major impact. Go and file the provisional specification.
Is there something like gap between provisional patent and complete patent?
Yes, 12 months.
So for during the patent application, patent file, should we have to provide some experimental evidence related to some instrumentation measurement or something?
See,
let's say I am synthesizing some material. So, but how do you know? Related to, we'll do some experiment or some characterization we will do, and we'll make some graphs. So that graph we need to provide there.
Experimental details will add value to your patent specification. It will prove that you have worked on that model. That's why you have received that experimental details, and it will provide an advantage of getting a grant or the patent application. Yes, please.
So, as I asked regarding the patenting and the publishing. So, as per the suggestion, we will go for the patent first and then the publication. But during the submission of the result actually in the journal, so they used to ask that whether before submission, if this kind of result is anywhere electronically published or not, and anywhere it is submitted or not. So at that time, shall we disclose that we have already
Yes.
filed
You can read that number, see, because it is your, see, when you are filing the journal, So there will be no rights. Okay, so there, you will not get any rights on that one. Okay, so when you are filing journal, if there is any objections or like what we call that one, like the review section, right? So if that is come to you, you can write like we have filed a patent on the date and this is the patent application. So that is absolutely fine.
And another thing that if my research involved some sacrifice of some animal model, just like mouse or something, to shall it be still get the possibility of it?
No, actually, for moral ground there is another section. I think section 3B. Okay. So if you are sacrificing some mouse or something, so you cannot like getting patent on that is bit difficult because we are facing the issue on in one of our application. Okay, in that application basically we are not sacrificing, but we are using the PGN. Then also the patent office is not very lenient to give the grant. Only 3 hearings have been done. I don't know like what will be the outcome of that one. But it is suggested not to provide that type of thing, like because of this non-patentable subject matter section 3. Okay, so for that reason we are facing this problem. Yes, please.
Sir, when the patent is filed, after that it will go to it will be available. All the knowledge, complete knowledge of the patent will be available in public domain, or after 20 years it will be available in public domain.
No. Okay. Yes. So I missed this information. See, when you are filing the patent application, it will not get immediately published. The provisional patent specification will not get published at all. When you file the complete specification, that complete specification will get published only. Now, when the patent specification will get published, like as he asked, that whether that will be published available to the public when the patent is granted or after 20 years. It is not the case. There are 2 provisions. Okay, so I am forgetting about the provisional specification. Okay, suppose I am filing the complete specification. And so once you file the patent application, complete patent application, it will be on the patent office database only. Okay, and in general, when you file the patent application, it will be published after 18 months from the date of filing of the complete patent application. After 18 months. Okay, so suppose you are filing, suppose 1st January 2025. So generally that will be published in 30th June 2026. But there is another provision that has been provided by the patent office in which there is a request for early publication. Okay, so the first one, whatever I have just said, so that is for the normal one. Like you don't have to pay anything for that one. You file the patent application, it will automatically get published 18 months from the date of first filing of the patent application. Now, you want to get it published. Okay, why? Because in our Patents Act, I have just discussed, there are certain rights that will be assigned to you. So that rights will be assigned as soon as possible your patent application is published. Okay, so that's why whoever inventor or applicant, they wants to file the patent application, they wants to get it published as soon as possible. Okay, so there is another provision that we call the early publication. Okay, and for that reason there is additional government fee, official fees you have to provide. Once you paid that additional government fee, the patent application will be published within 1 month from the date of payment of that official fee. Okay, so there are 2 provisions. One is the normal publication.
So we are by default filing Form 9 along with the application.
Okay.
So everything is expected early publication.
Yes. So as this usually like every institute does the same, because publication is very important. Like you will get the rights when it is published. So whenever your patent application will be filed, the early publication request that Matt has said Form 9. So it with some official fees it has to file such that your patent will be published within 1 month from the date of filing of that Form 9, not from the date of filing of the patent application. So the 18 months is from the date of filing of the patent application, but this early publication is 1 month from the date of filing of the early publication request. I hope this is fine, right? Okay.
In case of provisional patent filing, and when I file the complete patent filing, so little bit deviation is there.
I think she has
Yes,
asked the
whatever
question.
I think I file, whatever I am thinking, maybe it will not go to the.
Sorry, I did not get your question. Okay. See, first of all, like if you want to protect how it looks like, okay. So, giving an example. So, see this bottle, right? So, it has a unique aesthetic beauty, correct? See, there is a cap. This is a bit broader. Then there is some curve, and the lower portion is also a bit broader. So it basically how it looks like. Now, if you want to protect the look and feel of your product, then you have to file the design patent. Okay. So design patent will not protect the working functionality of your invention. So suppose you want to like file the design of this bottle. So as I have just given an example, like that BMW car. Okay. So if you want to protect the how it looks, the aesthetic beauty, how you can see through your eyes, only that things will get protected by the design patent. Okay. That means see there are various actually like product. Okay. So as the look and feel is better, the number of sale is more, the higher. Okay. So this look and feel is also there is a value on that one. So for that reason, if you want to file or protect only how it looks like, go for the design patent. Now, if you want to file protect like how this like bottle has been made, okay, what are the working functionality, how this, like obviously there should be some device or machine, or there should be some process. So how it is like how the working functionality, or how the method, or how the product it is preparing this product, then you have to go with the utility patent. So utility patent is basically for the working functionality, and design patent how it looks like. Okay, thank you.
So what is the sequence of the inventor we should get in mind? Sequence of the
No, sequence doesn't matter. In patent specification, each and every inventor has the equal rights. So suppose there are 5 inventors, and I'm giving an example. Okay, so suppose there are 5 inventors, and it gets commercialized, and you get like suppose 1 crore. So each and every inventor is eligible to get 20 lakhs out of 50. So it's not like dependent on in which sequence you are giving. Okay. So in Patents Act there is no concept of sequence of inventor, but if you are part of that, you are the inventor. So you will get same right as of the others.
So sir, is there I have one doubt regarding the claims. How many claims should we do for the patent?
As many as possible, but there is like first 10 claims are free. You don't have to pay additional amount of money, and after 10 claims, if you write 11 claims, for additional 1 claim you have to pay the official fees. Why this official fees is required? Obviously they have to read, they have to analyze. For that reason they are charging these official fees. Okay, so you may write 50, that is not a problem, but you have to pay for additional official fees for the last 40 claims. So I hope like we can conclude this session as of now, and in the next section we will deep dive in the claim part. Okay, so the next slide all about the claims and how you write the claims, scope and all that. Okay, so enjoy your lunch and we come back. Thank you.
अगर कोई ज्वाइन नहीं अभी फिर आप लोगों में से किसी का अटेंडेंस छूटा है क्या? अगर किसी का छूटा तो अटेंडेंस बना लीजिए.
Sections that are mentioned in the Patents Act. Section 3 and Section 4. Okay, great. Okay, good. So, and
Section 10.
backgrounds, right? Brief description of the drawing, summary, and then detailed description. Right? Okay. So great. So we move to this next slide. So this is regarding the tips for effective drafting. Okay, so there is an image of waterfall, right? So like it's a step-by-step process. So we have to follow that process to define a very good draft patent specification. So as I have already mentioned, so understanding the problem solution statement is the foremost requirement for drafting any good patent specification. So for that reason, like at first we have to understand the problem solution. Then formulate claims of the proposed invention in order to solve the problem. So how we are going to formulate that claim, so that I will discuss in the next slide. So once these claims are finished, then you have to draw the drawings, and if that is a mechanical part, obviously the drawing would be there, but if it is related to the computer related invention, then there are some block diagram you have to provide, and that you can do from your own. And then like the fourth one is the use technically accurate and legally neutral language. Okay, so so that means like whatever technical terms that are required to patent specification, that you have to maintain. So I'm just giving an example. So suppose your invention has a requirement of camera. Okay, so in the patent specification you can write camera or image capturing unit. Okay, so what are the advantages of writing image capturing unit over the term camera? This image capturing unit, it will give you a broad aspect than the camera, because this image capturing unit may be a still photograph, it may be capturing the video, or it may be by another sensor. Okay, so this type of term you can use while drafting the patent specification, so that this is technically correct, as well as it will give a broader aspect of your invention. Okay, then there are 2 points. Include multiple embodiments and optional steps. Now, what does it mean by multiple embodiment? So, multiple embodiment. Suppose like you made one invention in which suppose there is a device. Okay, and suppose camera application. So mobile application, you all know, right? So suppose you have prepared one applications which are processing within your device only. Okay, so if you write only that all the processing are being done within the device, that means you are specifically specifying only one embodiment. Although that is true, that is only you are doing, but while drafting the specification, it is suggested to have more than one embodiment. For example, suppose in this scenario, what you can write, like whatever data that has been generated, you are transmitted to any cloud server, and there it is getting executed, and then it is again coming back to your device. So in that way, basically you are defining multiple embodiments of your invention. So what is the advantage of having multiple embodiments? So suppose you did not mention the second part. So you are just mentioning that whatever processing that has been done, that in the local device. So if any other person comes and they define that I have made this invention and that is getting executed in the cloud server, so the processing requirement, the processing capability that is required for the device is very low. So that is the invention. So you can stop that person by defining multiple embodiments. So just remember, while you draft the patent specification, instead of writing the specific embodiment, think if any other different type of embodiment that can be included in your specification, just include that, so that you can draw your total scope, or like the scope of your invention. Okay, and then ensure each claim is to be supported by the description. So this is a very important requirement. So for that reason, the second point you can see the formulate claims of the proposed invention. So that's why you have to at first formulate the claim. Okay, suppose you are writing the description, then you are formulating the claim. That may happen that you have missed to provide support for each and every claimed subject matter. For that reason, at first draft the claim, then write the specification to support each and every component or element, whatever you have written in the claimed subject matter. Okay, so moving to the next slide. So, like this is we have already discussed, right? So this patent specification is basically textualize your invention. So whatever technical concept or whatever technical invention you have made, so you are just technically conceptualizing. Okay, so the textual version of your invention is the patent draft. So there is some physical embodiment. Okay, so before some time I was giving an example, like you may have the device. Suppose one device you have invented, so that is the physical embodiment of your invention. Now how this device are getting executed, what is the working functionality, that you have to represent in the invention, and that in the textual form. So only drawing that will not be able, like suppose you are providing only drawing, right? So like the person who is seeing that drawing, he will not be able to understand how it is working, right? So that's why the drawing is mandatory. Mandatory means it is required to understand, and then the textualization of how the all components are working together to get the invention workable, that you have to write very carefully. Okay. So I have already shown this one, right? This Thomas Edison patent specification. So that is the same thing I have given in a slide. So there is one short video.
Ever wondered what patent drafting is all about? It's the process of constructing a detailed blueprint of an invention, containing clear descriptions and legal claims that mark its boundaries of protection. It demands a holistic overview of the concept, including its technical background and related sketches. The key is to incorporate ample information to describe the invention entirely, emphasizing its novel and inventive features. However, avoid overspecificity, which could pave the way for infringement by competitors. Instead, offering variable dimensions can be beneficial. Claims are a significant part of the patent application. They define the invention's features intended for protection, underscoring its unique, distinctive, and non-obvious aspects that make it worthy of a patent. And that, folks, is a snapshot of what patent drafting entails.
Okay. So that is the snapshot. So here is one important point has been mentioned.
Wondered what patent draft?
Okay. So here one important point that has been mentioned, like instead of specifying a particular thing, if you write some range. So for example, like we saw in various biotechnology domain inventions. So suppose there are certain requirement to give a specific temperature. After that, it will get work. Okay. So instead of specifying that particular temperature, if you provide the range, suppose your invention works well in 100 degree centigrade. Okay. So in claim, it is suggested not to write only 100 degree Celsius. Why? Because suppose you are specifying only 100 degree centigrade. Now some other person, they came into the picture and they write 105 degree centigrade. So you do not have that scope defined, right? So that means you cannot send the legal notice to him, because he is at all not infringing your patent scope, whatever you have defined. You have just write 100 degree centigrade. So that's why it is suggested whenever you are writing the claim, draft the claim to define a particular scope. Okay. So here basically how I am given an example to understand like how these claims look like. Okay. So the first one is like abstract. So this is the short summary. So we all know about the trailer of movie, right? So this trailer of movie is the abstract you can think of. Now the claim is the storyline of the invention or storyline of your movie. Okay. So this claim is the main heart and soul of your invention, and it defines the boundaries, what is included, what is excluded, and the full scope of your invention. Okay, so that's why the claim drafting is the most important part. So I am giving an example of bicycle. Okay, see, so try to start that one. See, there are 3 claims, right? So the first claim is the independent claim. The second 2 is the dependent claims. Okay, so when you are writing any claim, there should be at least one independent claim. What is the independent claim? It is the main claim of your invention. Okay, what is the main feature of your invention that should be included in the independent claim. Okay, and like as I have discussed, right? So you can search, you can perform the patentability search to find out what are the inventive concept of your invention. Then, like when you know that this is the inventive concept, so make sure that that inventive concept should be included in the claim number 1. Okay, because that includes the primary features of the invention. Now you will ask, so what is the dependent claim? Dependent claims is basically the subsidiary features of your invention. So there is maybe another like subsidiary features which will require to like define the whole scope of your claim. Then basically that dependent claims need to be included also. Okay, so you can say this bicycle that has been written in a different way. A two-wheeled vehicle. Okay, so it's a type of grafting. So it's a two-wheeled vehicle comprising a frame, a handle, and a propulsion mechanism. Okay, so that is the bicycle. So okay, what is a two-wheeled vehicle? So I have added another slide. So I will discuss that one. What are the different components we call about? But at first, please understand that in the claim, so independent means it is not dependent on any other claims. It is independently, it can exist. Okay, for that reason, the first claim is the independent claim. So here, whatever claim we have defined, it is a product claim or process claim? Product, right. So we have defined the product claim, right? So this is the device. Okay, so a two-wheel vehicle comprising a frame. So these are the components of the two-wheel vehicle. So two-wheel. Then see the dependent claims. So dependent claims, see that two-wheel vehicles as claimed in claim 1. That means it is depending on the claim 1, which is the independent claim. Okay, so the two-wheel vehicle as claimed in claim 1, wherein the propulsion mechanism comprises a gear system. Okay, so we know like what are the propulsion system in the bicycle, right? And then so what we are doing in the dependent claim, we are narrowing it down. Okay, so we are adding the gear. So why we write this dependent claim? So suppose I am giving an example. Suppose the examiner has cited one document which discloses all the features of your claim 1. Suppose, okay, that means like your invention is not inventive or novel with respect to what the prior art that has been given. But when we analyze that prior art document, we found the feature that has been mentioned in the dependent claim that is not there. So what we do, we just amend that claim. Okay, we just amend that claim to include the feature of the dependent claim into the independent claim to make it unique. So during the amendment, we just include these things into the independent claim, and we said delete this claim 2, and we said now whatever the components that are available in the independent claim, that is unique with respect to your prior art document. So our invention is unique. By that way, we can obviate the objection that has been raised by the patent office, and we can get a grant. Okay, so for that reason, when you think that you are sure, like obviously it is always suggested to include the inventive concept in the independent claim 1, and the additional features or subsidiary features that should be there in the dependent claim also. And now coming to the claim 3. In the claim 3, the two-wheel vehicle as claimed in claim 2. See, this is basically dependent on claim 2. It is not dependent on the claim 1. Okay, so dependent claim can be dependent on another dependent claim, either independent claim or dependent claim. So the two-wheel vehicle as claimed in claim 2, wherein the gear system is operatively coupled to a braking system. Obviously that needs to be a braking system, otherwise it will not stop, right? So these are the subsidiary features what we included in the dependent claim. So just remember, the independent claim should be the broader version of your invention. It should include all the primary features of your invention, and the subsidiary features should be included in the dependent. Right? Okay. Now, so that is the tips that is given here. So independent claim would be the broad, that protects the core invention, core inventive concept of your invention. And the dependent claims, that is the details, additional details, the subsidiary features that should be in the dependent claims. And that is required to strengthen the protection. And obviously, like it will help us during the time of prosecution. What does it mean by prosecution? So after drafting and filing, all the stages till grant, we call it as a prosecution. Okay, so if we add these dependent claims, so it will help us during the prosecution to include those features into the independent claim to make a narrower version of the independent claim to get the grant of a patent. Okay, so together they define a legal fence around your invention. Okay, so now moving to the okay, so this is the same thing like this independent claims, that is the broadest scope, and this can be considered as a standalone invention because all the primary features of your invention are included in the independent claim 1. Okay. Now the dependent claims refers back to and limit the scope of invention independent claim. Right? And okay, so there are two types of claim we can define. One is the method claim, and another is the apparatus or product claim. Okay. In the method claim, whatever you have to do, you have to define the step of a process, like how you are executing one by one of your process. So you have to define that in the independent claim, and also like you can add the additional features in your like in the subsidiary dependent claim. But this process claim is the method claim or process claim. You can call it in a both way. So you have to define the steps of the process in a consecutive way. Like after this will happen. After this will happen. In that way. Okay. And this apparatus claim, basically this is the physical structure or system. So we are considering how to define the scope, right? So you can see on Venn diagram I have given, right? So this is the fence, basically. This is the scope that has been defined by your invention. So here, if you can see these things, okay? So this Y represents your prior art. These things represents your prior art, okay? Now you want to file this patent X. So here you can see you have defined this scope. Now there is an overlapping section, correct? This overlapping section is the enabled subject matter. What does it mean? That means by seeing the prior art document Y, it will enable this common section. So there are few sections which are not common, that is unique for your new invention X, right? So this white portion, this non-enabled subject matter, that is the core inventiveness of your invention. So if that is present, then you will get the patent granted. So that's why like when you are defining that claims, if you showcase at least one feature of your invention that is not present in the prior art documents, you have gone through, you will get the patent. Okay, so in this Venn diagram, it is clear there should be some portion which is non-enabled subject matter. That means from this prior art document Y, the person skilled in the art will not be able to reach your invention. Right? Clear? Okay. So there is an example I have given to how to define the scope. Okay. So for example, the invention is a smart water bottle that reminds the user to drink water using sensor and mobile app. So nowadays, like we forget to drink water, right? We are so much busy of working, so we forget to drink the water. So this is the invention considering that problem. What it will do? It will remind you after certain time, please drink water. Okay. So how that invention is working? So this is the smart water bottle that reminds the user to drink water using sensors and mobile app. Okay. So the description detail part. So the description is normal description that has been given here. The bottle has a temperature sensor, a Bluetooth module, and an app that alerts the user every hour. So every hour means it may be changed. Okay. Every hour means like suppose at the time of summer the frequency would be more. but at the time of winter season, the frequency would be less. Okay, but this is the general description that has been made here. So this part helps in understanding and supporting the invention, but that does not define the scope legally. So this is the normal description we have provided, right? What are the things, how it works? So it is the normal description. Now there is an example of too narrow claim. Okay. So there is an example of too narrow claim. What is see, a smart water bottle comprising a temperature sensor, a Bluetooth chip, and a mobile app that reminds the user every hour. So we have defined this independent claim. It is too narrow. Why? Because only protects the exact configuration. So we have written each and everything in the patent independent claim. So what is the weakness? See, a competitor could use Wi-Fi instead of Bluetooth, because see, in the claim number 1 in the independent claim, what you have written is smart water bottle comprising a temperature sensor and a Bluetooth chip. So you have specifically mentioned the Bluetooth chip. So if any other person comes and they claim we are using the Wi-Fi and we are not using the Bluetooth, okay, because Wi-Fi has a more range than Bluetooth, then they will bypass your invention. So you do not have that protection to send a legal notice to that person. So if you draft this type of claim, it is too narrow. That means the fence, whatever you are giving, that is very narrow. Okay, so anyone can bypass that one. So that's why we have to choose the word very intelligently. So I will give you the example of how to draft a broad claim. So this is the broader scope. Okay, what is the broader scope? A smart hydration monitoring system. A smart hydration monitoring system comprising a fluid container and a reminder mechanism based on user consumption. Right. So see here, I have not written the bottle. I have not written how this reminder mechanism are working. Right. So this is the broader version. So as I have written like this reminder mechanism, in the dependent claim, I will include how this reminder mechanism is working. Right. So in that things like that you can write, or you can you cannot write. So that depends on like how unique your invention is. Based on that one, basically you have to draft the claims. So here what it is doing, covers any system that tracks hydration and reminds the user regardless of the specific sensor or communication module. Okay. So in the prior claim, I am going back to that slide again. So we have specifically written like there is a temperature sensor, a Bluetooth chip, and mobile app. Okay. So this type of mentioning particular sensor, the Bluetooth chip, and the mobile app is not suggested, because it will obviously define the very narrow scope of your invention, right? So this is called the narrower claim drafting. Now this is the improved or broader scope. So what is the takeaway? What is the important concept what we learn about? The claims must still be supported by the description. Okay, so that means whatever you are writing in the claims, that should be supported by the description of your patent application. And see, now we understood like how you can change the scope of your claims. Okay. Now you will say, no, I will write the broadest version of my invention. There is also some problem. Okay, suppose you are defining the broader scope, then the other invention may infringe. The other invention may come into your scope. Okay, then you will not get the patent. So that is also not desirable. So, and also if you write down too narrow scope, then the competitor can easily design around it. So that's why it's a strategy. You have to understand like how to write the claim so that it should not be the broadest version of your invention and it should not be the too narrow. So it is in between these two to properly define the scope of your invention. Got it? Okay. So here again, I have given an example like what is the good drafting and what is the bad drafting. So at first, I am discussing about the bad drafting. So here we have just written a machine for transportation. Okay. So what? So in bad drafting, see a machine for transportation. Okay. So this is too long, you know, and it covers everything, and it is likely to be rejected because you have just written a single sentence in your independent claim. So that is not desirable. So what is the good drafting then? So the good drafting is like, see, a bicycle, you can ride bicycle or two-wheel vehicle that we have shown you, right? So two-wheel vehicle would be like more appropriate word in the patent specification. So bicycle comprising a frame, this is the independent claim, okay? A bicycle comprising a frame, a front wheel and a rear wheel rotatively attached to the frame. See, each and every component are connected to each other. So at first the component is a frame. So that like the triangular frame, right? Then a front wheel and a rear wheel rotatively attached to the frame. Okay, so they are attached with that frame. Then a handle coupled to the frame for steering the bicycle. That means for maneuvering or steering the bicycle, you need one handle also. And the last is a gear assembly coupled with the frame and the rear wheel, wherein the gear assembly is configured to adjust pedaling effort so as to control the speed of your bicycle. Right. So this is the good drafting practice. So here basically at first you have given the like bicycle on which you want to get the patent, and then each and every component you are giving, and see each and every component are connected to each other. So first I have like written this frame, then this front wheel and rear wheel, how that is attached to the frame, that is rotatively attached. That means this front wheel and rear wheel can rotate by itself, and there is a handle that can maneuver the bicycle, and last the gear assembly that is required to adjust the pedaling effort. Okay, so this is the crisp and clear version of your draft, and it covers the specific element of the bicycle. So now we got an idea, right? So how to define the scope of your invention, what is the good drafting, what is the bad drafting, and all those things. Now, like we are discussing the claim language. Okay, so here again there are few rules. So these are not defined by the Patent Act, but it is the general rule of drafting the claims. So there are three parts of your claim. Okay, the first one we call as a preamble. What we call as a preamble. Okay, and then there is a transition, and then there is a body. Okay, so that should be a transition portion, right? So like as an example, like in a football match, right, you cannot just go and give a goal, right? So the goalkeeper has to pass the players, and they will go and then go to the opposition party to score a goal, right? So this is similar. Like there will be a preamble, and there is some transition, like transition from the preamble to the body and the body. Okay, so here you can see like this bicycle is called as a preamble. So that is marked in the yellow color. Okay, so this is basically the field of your invention. So that we call as a preamble. Then transition is like the connecting words between the preamble and the body. And the body is the rest of the portion. So in that you can see this bicycle is the preamble, the transition is the blue portion, and the body is the green portion. Okay, so the body part is the like main component that has been described in this body portion. Okay, here is another important point that that antecedent basis should be maintained. So what does it mean by antecedent basis? Antecedent basis means, see here I have given a frame in the red mark, right? And then when I'm using that in the second line, I have used the frame. Correct? So this is called antecedent basis. That means when you are writing any component for the first time, you have to use a or an. And for the subsequent time, you have to write the. So the antecedent basis must be maintained throughout your claim as well as in the description also. Okay, so that's why like see here basically the frame, again when I'm writing that frame in the third or fourth line, again I have used the frame. Okay, so see here is a rear wheel, then I have used the rear wheel. Okay, and see the gear is in assembly. For the first time I have used a gear assembly, but for the second time I have used the gear assembly. Now here another thing, like the wording should be consistent. It should be consistent throughout your specification. Like when you are writing the front wheel and rear wheel in the claim, you are not allowed to write the first wheel or second wheel or alternatively in the throughout the specification. Then what will happen? So suppose like you are reading the specification, you have write in one place first wheel, second wheel, another place front wheel and the rear wheel. So like you will not be able to understand. For that reason, so whatever like terminology you are using in the claim, that should be there in the throughout the specification. So it is basically for the ease of understanding. Whoever will read that one, he will, suppose he wants to see the front wheel where you have used throughout the specification. So he will search with that term only. Now if you use different terms, so it will not be possible to understand, right? So this is a simple example. The patent may be in the complex matter also. So for that reason, like it is always suggested to use the same terminology throughout the claim as well as throughout the specification. But remember, the antecedent basis should be maintained throughout the specification. Okay. So this comprising and including, that we call transition, right? Right. So this is the preamble, transition and body. So in the transition, it is always suggested to use the word like comprising and including instead of consisting. Okay, consisting, basically these are the legal terminologies, and this consisting basically provides a very narrow scope rather than comprising and including. So that's why like whenever you see the claims that has been filed, maximum we have used this comprising as a transition word. Okay, so including is also fine, but it is suggested always to use either comprising or comprises to make it a more broader version. Okay, then the avoid subjective terms. So you can find some invention which has written in his claim that it is inventive in nature. So that is not required at all, because you are filing the patent. That means you have some inventiveness. That's why you are filing the patent. So that's why the subjective terms is not allowed. So if you write very efficient, right? What is this? A very efficient, like you claim the subject matter, we read and we understand it is very efficient based on your experimental details. So you don't have to specifically write it into the claims. So always try to avoid these subjective terms. Very efficient, new, novel, inventive. So these type of terminology is not suggested within the claim subject matter. Use consistent terminology throughout the draft. I have just discussed. So like whatever terminology you are using, that should be consistent throughout the specification. Okay, and then new and inventive parts of your invention must be included in the independent claim. Okay, so as I have said, like this independent claim is the basically the primary claim or primary portion of your whole invention. So whatever the new and inventive parts of your invention, that should be included in the independent claim as a feature of that independent claim. So that should be in the body, right? Or where? Body. So just tell me, this invention must be the new and inventive part. So it should be where? In preamble or transition body, or transition or body? Preamble is basically nothing but the like what are the field of your technology. Okay, bicycle or like a mechanical device. So that is the preamble. So I have given it a short, but you can write few things in that preamble. But the main inventive concept should be there in the body portion of the claims. Okay. Now inclusion of reference numerals. So this is basically according to the Indian Patent Act as well as the European Patent Act. So in the claims you must refer to the reference numerals whatever you have defined in your drawing. So I hope I have given like that reference numerals that should be there in the drawing. So I'm showing it again. So like so this reference numerals should be there in the claims also. Okay. So these are called reference numerals. See 104, 100, 102. So these are the reference numerals. Okay. So what are the common drafting mistakes we generally make? So inconsistent terminology between claims and description. So that is like that you have to avoid. That you have to. Okay. So whatever terminology. So suppose I am giving an example. So for computer related invention, we have to write in the claim that the processor is configured to perform this. And again, in the description, you are writing the processing unit. Although they are very similar, the processing unit is more broader than the processor. But if you are writing processing unit or processor in the claims, then you have to use the same terminology in the description part. And then missing enablement. So obviously, as we have discussed under section 10.4, the enablement requirement is the must one. Okay. So whenever you are writing any claim, each and every component that should be described and the whole invention should enable the persons such that a person skilled in the art, obviously other than you, who read your invention, they can understand the invention. So the enablement is must, otherwise we will get the objection under section 10.4. It's not like that you, even though you are writing all the things, the enablement objection is not there. But even suppose you have write everything, okay, you have enabled thing, but then also we saw the patent office give this objection. Then you have to obviate, you have to reply it back that we have given all the enablement. You see, like these things are there, these are the like support from there. Then basically the patent office accept. But if you miss that one, then you cannot argue, right? So that's why during the drafting of the patent specification, the enablement is very much required. Okay, then this vague and unclear. Okay, so obviously the vague and overly broad claims that you should not write. Okay, so the broader claim obviously will give broader scope of your invention, but there is a possibility that your patent will be rejected. That's why too broad claims are not suggested. And also too narrow claims are not suggested. So we have to write the scope in between these. So there are no fallback positions or dependent claims. So I have just given an example, right? So suppose in independent claims you have written 5 features and the controller has provided 2 prior documents in which all 5 features are present. That means your independent claims are not inventive with respect to 2 documents. So if you write the dependent claim, so that is the fallback option. Okay, so if I have the subsidiary features that is there in the dependent claim, so during the prosecution, you can amend the independent claim and you can add the 6th feature in your independent claim. By that way, you can consider or you can argue that we have these 6 features which are not there in these 2 documents. That's why our invention is unique. Okay. So that is always suggested to have the fallback options by including the subsidiary features in the dependent claims. Okay, so that's why no fallback position or dependent claims is not desirable. So this is the common drafting mistake. So you should avoid all those things. So write the dependent claims, write the subsidiary features, and wherever it is required, you just amend the claim to include in the independent claim so that your invention be inventive over the prior documents. Okay, so this is just a quiz type of thing. So just tell me this. Okay, another thing. See, here I have written an electrocardiogram device. Okay, and in bracket I have written ECG. Correct. So there is a requirement that whenever you are using the short form of any components, then you have to give the full name at first. Okay, so suppose here I cannot write an ECG device. Okay, see I have used this ECG, I think no, ECG is not used again. So suppose in case of ADC, so analog to digital converter, that is the ADC. Then again I have used this the ADC later. Okay, but at first you cannot write ADC, so you have to give the full form of that term, what ADC means, and then you can use that ADC in the next. This is basically the similar like of antecedent basis. Okay, so now tell me this this ECG, what we call this one? Preamble, body, or transition? Preamble. Okay, and this comprising transition, and this whole part is the body. Okay, now see here, this is the first line, this is the A plural, so these things you can see only. Say A plurality of what does it mean by A plurality? So these are the some patent jargons you should know. Okay, so sometimes we use one or more. Why? Suppose your invention can be workable by only one camera. Suppose, okay, but in claim we write that can be used by one or more cameras. It is just to define the broadest scope of your invention. Okay, that means that can be workable with one camera also, and that can be workable with multiple cameras also. So we are defining the broader scope. Okay, now suppose your invention requires at least two components, then you can use a plurality of this. Okay, so these are the like patent jargons. When you read that patent claim, you will come these types of wording frequently. So understanding this one will help you to understand whole claim subject matter. Now here see I have written like a plurality of input analog signals. Okay, and then again here I have written a plurality of input analog signals. So this is right or wrong?
So this is right.
Why?
So the plurality of input signal does not make sense here, and a plurality just means multiple.
No. See, this antecedent basis has to follow.
In that case also.
So as you have written a plurality, then after that you have to maintain the antecedent basis and you have to write the plurality of input analog signals. Okay, and here for the first time I am using the first channel. So it is correct or wrong? Wrong, right? So for when I am using for the first time, I have to use either a or an. But I have used the, so this is the wrong thing. So I have not followed the antecedent basis clearly, right? Now again here, this is always the same, okay? The third channel, so it should be the A third channel because I am using it for the first time in this claim, okay? So this is like all about how to like claim draft and all those things. So these are the few case studies. So I'll go one by one. So in between that one, like if you have any queries, please feel free to ask. Because this like we have like ma'am has given one problem solution statement, right? So we have to write the claim on top of that one. So like the independent claim and the dependent claim. So at most you can write 5 to 6 claims. So how you write the claims? The thing is that like when you are reading the like problem solution statement, obviously you will not write the claim on the problem, right? So you have to write the claim on the solution part. So the problem part is gone. Now in the solution part, there may be like a huge information that has been provided. You have to understand the important character, important feature of that invention. So you have to just write down these features. So these are the important features that is required to solve the problem that has been provided earlier. Okay, So now you have underlined the important feature. Now based on that one, you understand what are the sequence of steps, like if it is a process or like method steps. What are the steps that are executed one by one to get this invention or to solve that problem. So you can sequence that one and then you just write. In that way, you can define the method claim and also in the case of like, suppose there is a mechanical device, okay? So again, that is the same thing. So problem solution you have to understand, but that you don't have to write in the claims. So in the solution part, just underline the component that are required to execute your invention. Then just link between one after one another component and then write the whole thing. So that as a whole, whatever independent claim you have written, so that are capable of solving the problem that has been provided earlier. So in that way, you can grow and you can write the claim. So now basically, see these are the very like interesting and important case studies that we must understand. So see, this is the discovery of lithium-ion battery. So we are all using this lithium-ion battery in today's world, right? Because the world is now moving towards the EV vehicle and all those things. Okay, even bus is running through this lithium-ion battery. So this one of the most notable examples of lost patent opportunity is the invention of the lithium-ion battery. In 1980s, Oxford University researcher John B. Goodenough and his team developed the technology. However, due to university's lack of emphasis on the patent protection, the rights were not properly secured. So what is the impact of that one? The impact is loss of financial gains because ideas are free until you patent them. Correct? So they have implemented and they are made available to the market. So the other person, they have reverse engineered, they have implemented and they have commercialized. So the loss of financial gains. So the university, the Oxford University, they have lost the financial gains to this very important like invention that was made in 1980s. Limited control over technology. As you do not have any protection of your invention, as you have not filed any patent, so obviously you do not have your control because that is not your property. As you have not filed the patent, that is not your property, right? That is just a technology and that is freely available to each and everyone. So the control over that technology is not there with the Oxford University, and the missed opportunity for research funding. Obviously, like if you have the technology, you can license it to another company, they can provide you the money, and by that one, basically you can get the research funding, right? And the competitive disadvantage. Obviously, like if you have the technology, you can showcase that in your portfolio, and that will increase the value of your university. Then another like patent ignorance case study is there. So Sir Alec Jeffreys of University UK in 1984 invented DNA fingerprinting, a revolutionary method for identifying individuals based on their unique genetic patterns. It became a breakthrough in forensic science, criminal investigations, paternity testing, and immigration cases. However, due to university's lack of emphasis on the patent protection, the rights were not properly secured. So so this is a case of non-filing of patent. So the discovery was public, so it should be the invention. The invention was publicly disclosed before the filing of a patent, allowing others to use the technology without paying licensing fees. So other can freely use that, right? And Jeffries and the University of Leicester did not secure full commercial rights of the technology, and due to the lack of patent protection, the technique was widely adopted without financial benefit to the university of the inventor. Okay, so this is the same impact that has been given. Like the University of Leicester missed out the potential revenue for the patent licensing. Without the patent, the university had no legal authority on control how the technology was used. Okay, so they got the recognition obviously, because when you are inventing such a like unique invention, obviously you will get some recognition, but without any financial benefit. So this is the success stories. Okay, so we discuss about the failed stories. Now this is the success story. So Google, everybody will know that one, right? So Larry Page and Sergey Brin of Stanford University, USA, they have invented the PageRank algorithm and a method to rank web pages based on their relevance and importance by analyzing link structure in 1996. Okay. And that became the foundation of Google's search engine and revolutionizing the web search and online transformation retrieval. Okay. And they have filed the patent. Okay, the Stanford University, because this Larry Page and Sergey Brin, they are at that time they were, I think, doing PhD in Stanford University. So as they are doing the PhD, so Stanford University became the applicant. Okay, so the Stanford University filed the patent for the PageRank algorithm in 1998. So they have invented in 1996, and the patent got filed in 1998 to secure the intellectual property rights. The patent was, so like when the Stanford University filed that patent, so who is the owner? Stanford University, right? And the inventor is Larry Page and the Sergey Brin. Okay, so the ownership that are assigned to Stanford. That means if that needs to be licensed or that requires like any other person who wants to use, that has to take permission from Stanford University only, right? So see, as the patent was assigned to Stanford University with Larry Page and Sergey Brin as inventors. Okay, and the university later licensed the patent to the Google. See, so the both persons, they came out the university and they found Google and they take license from Stanford University, although they are the inventor. Okay, so although they are the inventor, they take the license and patent to the Google and allowing it to use and develop the technology commercially. So Stanford licensed the patent to Google and $336K a significant revenue from a single innovation. Okay, as they have licensed, obviously whatever revenue that has been generated out of that invention, they has to give certain percentage to Stanford University, and in that way basically they have got $336K US dollar. Okay, the university retained ownership, benefiting from Google's success while maintaining rights over the technology. Okay, so you can understand like how important, like who is the applicant, who is the inventor, and the like strategy whether you should go for the patent or not. So it depends a lot. Okay, so there is a lot of commercial value that are there with the patent filing. So in India also, like I have given an example in India also. These are the like a few case studies from USA. So the Stanford University decision to patent the PageRank algorithm resulted in financial success, okay, the technology impact, and the strategic positioning. Because they are the owner, they can use that technology to they can give license, they can sell, they can offer to sell. So as they are the owner, they can do so. So this is the like strategic thing. So this is the success stories in India. So in the COVID time, basically ISC professor, they have invented, like that time there was a huge requirement of oxygen, correct? So they have invented one device that was capable of generating more pure oxygen in a less amount of time. Okay, so and they have given, basically they have licensed it to different companies to get financial benefit out of that invention. So this is the success story that so this is one of cases. So IIT Madras, they are doing like very well in this commercialization of patent. Okay, so that's all from my end. So now this patent drafting problem solution statement, I hope like you have received one document, right? So please go through that one and understand, like so you just at first you understand like what are the important feature. Okay, so you just underline or you can write it down. Then you just try to write the claim. So see, this is the first day you are understanding whole the thing. So just understand how to take the steps by step procedure to write the claim. Okay, just go through the same and underline the important whatever features that are there, and based on try to write at least 1 or 2, 3 claims. Okay, and like if you have any question, please feel free to ask me.
That was it.
It actually can be, it's easily can be, I think it can be.
That's it.
Standard practice basically মানে ফিগার 1 যেহেতু আছে ওই জন্য 100 দিয়ে স্টার্ট হবে, যখন ফিগার 2 হয়ে যায় 200 দিয়ে স্টার্ট হবে। হ্যাঁ 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 ঠিক আছে, এবার যখন ফিগার 3 হবে তখন 300 দিয়ে স্টার্ট হবে। তো এটা কিছু এটা মানে একটা কমন ড্রাফটিং প্র্যাকটিস স্ট্যান্ডার্ড, হ্যাঁ মানে আপনি 1 2 3 4 5 লিখলেও বাট এটা লিখলে বোঝা যায়। সে ধরুন আমি দুম করে 300 লিখলাম তখন আমি বুঝে গেলাম যে তাহলে ফিগার 3 এটা কমন মানে স্ট্যান্ডার্ড প্র্যাকটিস,
মিস্টেকটা কম হয়ে যাবে।
হ্যাঁ এটা অ্যাকচুয়ালি সুবিধা হয়। হ্যাঁ 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 মেথড অ্যান্ড সিস্টেম অফ লিখতে হবে, মেথড অ্যান্ড সিস্টেম ফর এনহ্যান্সিং হ্যান্ড রিটেন কন্টেন্ট ইন স্মার্ট এটা লিখতে হবে, এটা লিখলেই হবে, এটা লিখলেই ফুল মার্কস। হ্যাঁ 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 একদম একদম মানে 1 নম্বর 2 নম্বর ওইগুলো, কিন্তু 15 ওয়ার্ডসের মধ্যে না, তো ওটা বেশি হয়ে গেলে আবার কেটে দেবে। নিন অ্যাবস্ট্রাক্ট ক্লিন কপি আমি ক্লিন হ্যাঁ ক্লিন মানে যেটা যেটা লিখছি লিখে ক্লিন ওয়ানটা তাহলে ওটাই সব থেকে কঠিন আছে পেটেন্ট ড্রাফটিং। হ্যাঁ এটা দেখি না এবার এইখানে এটা পুরো আপনাকে বুঝতে হবে যেটা সিস্টেম ক্লেমটা প্রথমটা আমি বলে দিই কোশ্চেন করছি।
Hello. So, while reading the problem solution statement, so you underline the important features, that is fine. Then you try to understand like whether the method claim would be the first independent claim or the system claim would be the first independent claim. Okay. So I am giving an hint to you for computer related invention. Okay. So this is basically that has been given as a computer related invention. Okay. Generative for computer related invention, we write method claims as the primary independent claims because who are from this computer science domain, they have to understand like they have to write a sequence of code, right? So that will be a sequence of steps. So that you have to define as a method claim. Okay. So for that, you at first you underline the important feature and then try to understand whether the method independent claim would be the primary or the system. Then you will start writing that one. Okay.
ইনভেনশনে আমরা যদি ইউনিকনেস থাকে আমরা মেথড স্টেপটাকে প্রাইমারি ইন্ডিপেন্ডেন্ট ক্লেম করি। হ্যাঁ না সেটাও লিখতে হবে। of doing this the method comprises দিয়ে একটা স্টেপ লিখতে হবে, ঠিক আছে? আমি দেখিয়ে দিতে হবে।
एक बार इसको लेकर जाओ, अगर किसी को नहीं मिला
Handwritten content in real time as it is being written on a capacitive touch screen. Then after identifying, it is basically detecting a number of learners and accessing their spatial positional arrangement with respect to the smartboard. Okay. Then determining distance of the learners from the smartboard to identify learner being positioned at farthest distance from the smartboard and viewing angles of each of the learners with respect to the smartboard. So why it is required? Because see, here I am writing, okay. So suppose the farthest corner at that student. So he has to see that one, okay. So based on that one, the size of the content will automatically get increased. So that's why the camera has captured the images. Then the distance has to be measured by the processor, right? So here determining distance of the learner from the smartboard to identify learner being positioned at the farthest distance. Okay, so based on that distance, basically the the modification will be made. Then upon converting the handwritten, so here it is written upon converting the handwritten content into the digitalized content. So here Wisdom Act OCR recognizing content of the digitized content and interpreting the subject matter being taught by the comprehending subject specific keywords of the digitized content. Okay, so why this OCR and this NLP is required? This NLP is required to understand what type of like subject matter of using. Okay, so like when you are using suppose mathematical expression, so x square, okay, that is different. Or when you are writing normal, so suppose the professor has written x square and that is not on the top. So once the NLP understand it is related to the mathematical expression, it will just consider x square. Okay, for that reason this NLP is required. Then performing by a machine learning model based on the context and subject real-time context-based correction. Okay, so suppose the 2 is written like Z. Okay, so if the computer program, so it will perform the real-time context-based correction. So it will correct that x square. Actually, I will show you the patent specification also. So in detail, the different examples have been given, like what based on what subject matter, how the correction has been made, and all those things. Okay. Then determining formatting of the digitized context based on the farthest distance of the learner, viewing angles, and recognized context of the handwritten content. And last में क्या होगा कि displaying on the smartboard the digitized context in determined formatting. Okay, to provide maximum clarity of visual elements in the digitized content to each of the learners. Okay, then see these are the different dependent claims. The method as claimed in claim 1, wherein formatting the digitized content comprises. हम लोग तो बोल रहे हैं कि we are formatting. What does it mean by formatting? Formatting means we are changing with respect to bold, italics, underline, color, font size, space management, a plurality of heading types, okay, bullet types. So suppose the professor has written something and he has written one by one. So it can automatically format by providing some bullet points. Okay, by that way that can be represented dynamically in a beautiful way and in a largest possible format so that the farthest person can see that content easily. Okay. And there is another like here see then another thing, the method as claimed in claim 1, wherein determining distance and viewing angles of the learner further comprises. See, we have from where it is getting, see 306. Okay, so 306 is this, determining distance of the learner from the smartboard to identify learner. Okay, now how it is getting determined, that is clearly written in this dependent claim. Okay, so the tracking the movement. So suppose one person, the last person, he came in the front seat and there is no person at last. Okay, it will automatically detect the change of position of students and it automatically change the formatting also. Okay, so for that reason it has given. Then see the method as claimed in claim 3. So it is dependent on this one. Okay, so further comprises determining updated formatting. So suppose the person come from the last bench to the first bench. Okay, so the size that is not required to be that much of large. Okay, so it will automatically updating the format based on the position of real-time position of the student. Okay. And so these are the things. And then the claim 5, the method as claimed in claim 1, where displaying the digitized content in the smartboard comprises displaying the handwritten content and digitized content into multiple sections of the smartboard simultaneously. That means two different display units are present and we are displaying theirs simultaneously. Now see, this is the system claim. Okay, so this system claim is there, but that is not the primary claim. So this is the second independent claim where it is written the system for enhancing the handwritten content on a smartboard. The system comprises what is a capacitive touch screen, at least one image capturing unit, at least one processor, a memory communicatively coupled with the processor, and the processor is configured to identify, detect, determine, and then basically recognize, performs, determines, and display. Okay, see, these steps are the copy paste of the first claim. Only the thing is that this displaying became displays. Okay, because what you have right, the at least one processor is configured to. And when we are writing to, we cannot use the gerund form here, right? So the at least one processor is configured to identify or identifies the handwritten content. Okay, and here detects or detect. So in that type, the system claim has also been mentioned, and this is the same like two different dependent system claim we have defined. Now, like I will show this specification on the Indian Patent Office website, so that you have some idea like what are the different steps and how this patent certificate looks like. Okay, so I'm giving you. So when you are filing the patent application, you will get this type of patent application number. Okay. So here see 2024. This is this first 4 digits are like in which year you are filing the patent application. So it was filed in 2024. So the all patent that is filed in 2025 will start from 2025. Okay. Then after that one, that means it was filed in Delhi jurisdiction. In Kolkata, but ISM Dhanbad, that will come under the Kolkata jurisdiction. So you will find here 20253, like whatever invention that has been filed recently. So that you will get this number. So these are the different terminologies that are there. Okay. So this is the patent application number, and if you search here application status, see this is the patent application number. Okay, and you have to give the capture. Okay, see this is the status. Okay, so here see this is the ordinary application. It was filed in 22nd October. Okay, so the applicant is DTU, Delhi Technological University, and the title of the invention is Method and System for Enhancing Handwritten Content on a Smart board. The field of invention is electronics, as well as it may be the computer. So emails as record, like in which email they will communicate. Request for examination date. So there are few dates. So this is the publication date when it was get published, and like reply to AFIR, that first examination report. So these dates are here. Okay. Now see, these are the patent documents. So so these are the different forms. So these basically are the legal requirements. So you have to comply with. So this is called the form 1. So like who is the applicant, what is the address. Here you see the name of the inventors. Okay, so these are the inventors of DTU, and then what is the title of the invention, who is the authorized agent, registered patent agent for this particular patent application, and so I told you na that proof of right you have to provide, as you are the inventor, you are the owner, but you have to file this proof of right. So you have to sign here. So here it is written like the inventor, this is the case of applicant is assigning. Okay, that means all the inventors are assigning their rights to the applicant. So the inventor needs to assign here. So we have filed that one also. So I'll show you. And these are the different things like this is the patent application fee, and so at last it was the filing date and signature of the agent. Okay, and it was filed in the Delhi jurisdiction. Okay, and then so these are the drawings we have filed,
See, so these are the formal requirements. Okay, so you have to write the applicant name, what are the number of seats, and at last the signature of the applicant or agent should be there. So this is the drawing we have filed, and this is the complete specification. See, so whatever I have just shown to you, so this form 2 and all those things we have to mention here. So these are the formal requirements, and see here applicant details are also there, and these are the different sections of the specification. So this is the brief description of the drawing, detailed description of the invention, and see there are various. So I have shown you this specification, right? So the same specification has been filed before the patent office, and this is the advantages, this is the claim, whatever I have just shown to you, and at last basically this is the filing date and the signature should be there. So this is the complete specification, and then form 9. So ma'am was saying, like, so each and every invention the request for early publication is filed. So in this case this is a form 9, so request for early publication. So once you file this request for application, it will get published within 1 month. Okay, and then this proof of right. Okay, see here the inventor has signed and they have assigned their rights to DTU. See, each and every inventor has to sign here. Okay, so if any one person doesn't sign, this patent application will get rejected. Okay, so each and every inventor needs to sign here, and this is the FER. Okay, so FER means first examination report. Okay, see, so this is the first examination report that has been generated and that has been sent to us, and this is the name of the controller. So he has reviewed this patent application, and he is from the Government of India Patent Office. And then this examination report, see here the novelty is no. Okay, so he has written the novelty claims 1 to no is not present. He has also written the inventive step of claims 1 to 9 is not present. Okay, but the industrial applicability is present. So you have to comply with both novelty as well as inventiveness to get the patent. Okay, so we have to reply accordingly. Then see the non-patentability, so section 3K. So as I said, this is the computer related invention. So they have raised this section 3K objection. Okay, and that clarity and conciseness. So each and everything they have given no. So we have to reply it appropriately. We have to showcase whatever we have filed that is perfect in line with Patent Act. Okay, and they have cited D1. So this is the prior art document, and they have given their reasons why they consider this invention lacks novelty with respect to the prior art document. I hope you are able to hear me, right? Or I have to use the mic.
Mic is working.
Oh, mic
it's
is
catching
working.
your voice.
Okay. So this is the novelty part. Okay, so this is the novelty part, and then so inventiveness, inventive step also there is an objection. Non-patentability, they have raised the section 3K objection, and the clarity and conciseness. So they have made so many objections. Okay, and here there are formal requirements also. So we have prepared this response on top of whatever objection that has been raised. Okay, so here we have to make part by part for each objection. We have to write the reply. Okay, and the reply should be solid. Okay, so each and everything should be written in a clear format so that you can confirm, you can argue, and you can you can say the controller that whatever you are telling that is not right. Our invention has the uniqueness. Okay, so that again you have to understand. You have to understand the present invention. You have to understand the prior art document. So in this case, we found whatever objection that has been raised by the controller that was not correct. But sometimes the documents are very fine. So then you have to amend that to overcome the objection. So in this case, so that is based on your strategy, your understanding. Okay. In this case, we found that D1 document is not that much of good. Okay. So we just argued. We just argued without amending any claim. So see, we have given point by point objection, reply to the objection,
So what are the technical problem, how this technical solution is being given, and this is our claim 1, and we found these 2 steps are unique. Okay, so we have to showcase like which steps are unique with respect to the prior document. Okay, and then like we have provided in a tabular format. So what are the differences present between the present invention as well as the prior document, and like regarding non-patentability also we have provided that it includes the hardware feature. It is not just a mere algorithm or computer program per se, and so we have provided all these case laws support and all these things. So based on that one, so these are our, so just only we have filed form 3. So these are the formal requirements, but we did not amend any claim. So based on our reply, they have reviewed and they have granted the patent. So this is the patent certificate. See. Okay. So so it was filed on 22nd October and it was granted on 25th June. That means within 8 months this patent got granted. But generally it is a bit early. It takes generally 2 to 3 years to get the grant. So this is the overall life cycle, how you should draft the patent, how you should file the patent, and how you get this certificate. So this is the ultimate goal. So I hope like today's session is like at least you can understand something, right, regarding that patent drafting and all those things. So thank you and for being here.